Hey guys, so this is my weekly chat for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., the mid-season finale, season 3, episode 10. And disclaimer, I feel so sick right now. I mean, I've been so sick for the past few days, but I knew I had to do this video. So, like, I know I look like shit. You don't have to tell me in the comment section. Not that any of you would, but disclaimer. Okay, so there's a lot to talk about. I don't even know, but I will say within the mid-season finale, I felt like they only addressed certain things. I think we got a glimpse as to what is happening with Lash, but it wasn't brought to the forefront at all. So that's something that we're going to be able to delve into in the second half of the season. By the way, the only thing I'm really going to say about that is that Lash, I don't necessarily know if he killed all those people. I know it's heavily implied. I know it makes sense that he killed all of the Inhumans that were imprisoned, but we didn't see him do it. And I mean, of all my years of watching TV, the one thing that I know for sure, like, if you don't see somebody do it, like, maybe they didn't do it. Maybe everything's just being implied. For some reason, it was interesting to see him turn into Lash and seem to have a little more self-control as how he turned into Lash. I don't know if any of you felt that as well. So that's interesting. I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens with all of that. That's kind of all I wanted to say about that, is that we don't necessarily know if he was the one who killed all those Inhumans, even though it is, I mean, it's likely. I'm not saying he didn't. I'm just saying. And poor May. Oh, honestly. Okay. The other thing that I wanted to talk about is Will. Okay, so I was kind of right. Like, my theory was that Will was the thing. Do we have a name for the bad guy? I'm gonna call him the big bad for right now. The big bad Ward at this point, but at the time he was the big bad Will. I thought he was that possibly the whole time, but it turns out that he died saving Gemma. So, I mean, good on you. I'm not terribly too sad that he went. I don't think we had enough time to get fully attached to the character. Like, it's sad that he died, but it's, it's not like I cried over it or anything. I like Will a lot. I liked his character, even though he was like the competition for Fitz. I definitely still liked him. But again, I mean, out of all the people it could have been, not that sad. Not that sad at all. I guess, well, let me touch on Fitzsimmons really quick. There are so many people. It's the only thing that bothers me. There's so many people that really, how am I going to say this? Like, very politically correct. I feel like they don't entirely understand where Gemma was coming from. I think Gemma loves Will. Like, you have to have a certain amount of love for someone who saved your life and got you through such an awful time. But I don't think it's necessary. She's not in love with Will. She is in love with Fitz. I do not understand these people who say that Fitz is still in the friend zone and Will is, the guy that she really fell in. She had a crisis and she cares deeply for Will. I think it would be strange if she didn't care deeply for Will because of the fact of all that they've been through together. But it's always been Fitz. From the beginning of the show, she's been in love with Fitz. They just didn't know it, or they've been in love with each other and they didn't know it. I don't know. That's just how I feel about that. I think it's going to be fun to see where it goes. I'm sure the writers will throw some other obstacles in their way, but let's just say this: it's a Whedon show. It is a Whedon show. People who are Fitzsimmons shippers and all of that stuff, you don't really want them to get together because Whedon shows. Do you know what happens? Two people that you've been dying to get together so long, they finally get together or back together or whatever it is, and then he horribly kills one of them. Spoiler alert if you haven't watched the other Whedon shows, meaning Buffy, Angel, Firefly, Dollhouse, all of those things. It's awful and he rips your heart out. I know that that's Joss Whedon and this is more Jed Whedon, but listen. Let's not get too antsy to have them get together because that means that somebody's going to die terribly. It doesn't necessarily mean that, but there's a good chance. All right, people, let's be careful about what we're wishing for. And of course, now the last thing that I want to talk about is Ward. Of course, so much to talk about when it comes to Ward. I love Ward's character. He is one of my favorite characters in the sense that I think he's very well written. I think he's a terrible person and delusional, and that's so interesting to me. He had, in the first, part of the show, he was a hero through and through. He was a hero, and I think he even convinced himself that he was a hero. And then it was revealed that maybe he wasn't. Maybe he had ulterior motives and he's Hydra. And even then, we're like, well, he has loyalty to Garrett. Maybe he's still kind of a good person. I think in all of season 2, that was the tug and pull. And he was one of my favorite parts about season 2. The entire, just every episode, you sitting there and saying, is he, can he be reformed? I don't think so, but maybe. And it just kept going further and further. He kept trying to justify the actions he did. He justified putting Fitzsimmons into the ocean. He was like, well, I knew you could save yourselves. He says that to Fitz. He justifies a lot of his actions or doing stuff for Sky or Daisy, and then now he's on this crusade for vengeance because of Kara, and he doesn't really comprehend that, he does not even comprehend that he is in fact the person who killed Kara. I think if he ever actually tried to face that fact, he would completely lose his mind, because he's already kind of gone, but he is the one who shot. Nobody else shot Kara. No one. He did. He shot her. And just because they were tricking him, he's like, well, it's all your fault. And it's just the things that Ward can convince himself of. I love like that. I love characters that are written like that. And anyway. But I really do like him. I always kind of wished that he would never really hurt Fitz, but I don't know, torturing Gemma, was kind of the nail in the coffin in a lot of respects. Anyway, I liked that it was Coulson who put Ward down. I think it could have been anybody, honestly. Honestly, almost everybody had motivation to do so. But I liked that it was Coulson. I think it's fitting. Coulson is kind of in charge of everybody and in a way responsible for everyone. And I think him taking out Ward was just so important to you know, that's him protecting everyone. It's revenge for Rosalind, yes, but I think it's also the fact that, you know, he can't sit back. I always felt like there was always times where, you know, you felt like Ward needed to be dealt with, but there was always some other bad guy that came into the picture, or villain, whatever you want to call them, that, you know, and you get distracted and you're like, oh, okay, well, we'll deal with Ward later. But, you know, and I think that moment was the moment that he said, I need to do this. I need to protect everyone that I love. He keeps hurting people on my team that I care about. That's basically Coulson's family. You know, it's not really just his team anymore. And I think it's interesting, the dynamic between the two. I rewatched those scenes a couple times. And yes, Ward is crazy and he keeps saying like weird things. However, I think, you know, Ward has been searching for a higher purpose for a very, very long time. I think Ward is the perfect soldier who just needed something to fight for, and he's just been clawing at all of these little things of what to fight for. And he got as close to a purpose as he ever thought he could at this point, you know, in this episode. And he was so close, and I think in a sense that kind of let his guard down, and he was able to be kind of taken out. But I liked the dynamic. I think Coulson was filled with rage, you know, like the thing they showed right before he killed Ward was Rosalind. And it's kind of interesting. Now, don't misconstrue what I'm about to say, because it's not that I think Coulson is at all like Ward, but I liked the dynamic of that scene, that Coulson kind of took a page out of Ward's book, in the sense of like, Ward needed to die for a lot of reasons, but in the sense that his killing Ward was because of revenge. And it was kind of, I just thought it came full circle. I thought that was really interesting, that that's eventually what killed Ward, was someone who felt what he felt, you know, this whole time, whether it was delusional or not. That was really long. I didn't mean for me to really get into that. I love Ward's character a lot. And even though, and yes, best case scenario, I said this at the end of the reaction video, Ward is out of the picture. He's not going to be torturing our favorite characters anymore, or killing them. I mean, well, actually, he will be, but Ward particularly, his entity won't be doing that. But Brett Dalton still has a job. Now, we don't know much. I'm assuming this thing might actually still have the memories of Ward, and that's going to be really interesting, because he's still going to know everything. And yeah, this big bad Ward, just how I'm going to call him at the moment, is going to go after some people. And I think he's going to be a force to be reckoned with. I think he's going to be the head honcho to try to defeat at the end of this season. And I don't know if Brett Dalton's going to make it out of season 3. He might. I still, at this point, I still like his arc, even though he's now not really Ward anymore and he's this other thing. But I guess we'll have to wait and see. So in the comments below, let me know what you guys think about the second half of this season. I'll probably do another video maybe at some point before March rolls around and talk about what I think is going to happen. We got some glimpses into the Secret Warriors. Lash is still a big problem, you know, and we have Big Bad Ward. So let me know what you guys are really looking forward to, if anything. And this is going to be the last weekly chat for a while. But love you guys. Bye.